Hey, greetings, friends. Jacque Howard here, and thank you for taking a couple of minutes of your time to spend it with me and to listen to the information and the folks that I'm going to be bringing to you. This segment is part of the Bridge the Vote Facebook page. Again, this is part of the Bridge the Vote segment. Myself and Will Foskey are putting this together specifically to highlight the candidates that are seeking to run for office in the municipal elections for the city of Trenton happening November 8th, 2022. With that being said, I have Merkle Cherry, who is going to be coming on. He is a candidate for the North Ward. But before I do that, I have to let you know that there is a disclaimer, meaning that the station, myself, or any of the affiliates are not supporting any of the candidates, and this should not be considered an endorsement or a support for any of the candidates via Bridge the Vote. With that being said, I'm bringing on Merkle Cherry, who is running for the North Ward City Council position. Merkle, thank you for a couple of minutes of your time. And for those of you who are watching, you will actually be able to see that Michael Walker is listed on here as well. Michael Walker is part of this campaign. He will not be joining us. However, if you do have some questions, I'm sure that you can reach out to Merkle Cherry or Michael Walker about their candidacy. With that being said, Merkle Cherry, thank you, sir, for a couple of minutes of your time. I know that this time of the year is very busy, not only for everyone making the transition from summer to the fall, but also for folks who are seeking to run for an election seat. Can you share a little bit about who you are, maybe your elevator pitch about who you are, and then let's get into talking about some of the particulars about why you feel you are a good candidate for the North Ward City Council.
Good morning, Jacque, and good morning to your audience. Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to share a little bit about myself and my candidacy. I am a 40-year plus resident of the city of Trenton. Actually 40 years in the same location. I've lived in what has become part of the North Ward for that length of time. Two young men who were born and raised in the city. I live here with my wife, and I have an abiding and strong commitment and love for Trenton. I've adopted this as my home because it's been my home for some time. I know we're the capital city of the state of New Jersey. The residents in the city are wonderful, hardy individuals who have some challenges, and I want to be a part of being a voice for them and an advocate for the residents in the North Ward and ultimately the city in total, to ensure that the things that they deserve and should be happening will come as through me, working with the administration and other city council members to make sure that things are happening in a positive way for residents in North Trenton.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you so much for that introduction. Again, this is Merkle Cherry, who is seeking for the North Ward City Council position in the November 8th, 2022 Trenton City Municipal elections. Merkle, you had mentioned a bit about being here for 40 years and having a family here, etc. Can you talk a bit about what you have seen over the last 4 decades that you've been here in Trenton that is something that you would say is one of our strengths, and then maybe touch on some of the things that are weaknesses as well?
I'll say the strengths are the people in the city. We're the capital city is 7.5 square miles. I think we have a fairly strong physical infrastructure. We're located between two major cities, New York City and Philadelphia, and that's a plus for us. We have, though, strong, hardy, intelligent individuals who are living in the city, who've been here for quite some time, who are committed to seeing good things happen. And those, in my minds, are significant strengths for the city. We have a huge historic we have huge historic assets, and we need to mine those and market those and take advantage of those. I don't know if I'd say weaknesses, but challenges, as many urban areas have. We want to feel safe where we live. We want our neighborhoods to be clean. We want our streets to be paved. And we want to be able to sit out on the porch on a nice day and not be concerned about negative things that may prevent us from enjoying those things.
Mhm. Now, specifically, when you mentioned those key things, I'd like to almost say that there are Mount Rushmore things here in Trenton and probably everywhere. People want safety. They want to have a clean quality of life, basically safe. They want places to go, things to do. They want to have opportunities for their children to go to schools as well. Oftentimes, education is one of the key points that people talk about in elections. Can you speak about the position that council has with working with the school district and the school board, just so that people can be a bit more educated?
As you know, the school board, school district is a separate entity. Council's role, there are a couple of council people who sit on the board of school estimates, the mayor and the council liaison. Those are the primary roles, and council does approve the bond issues as a part of the issuing of bonds as part of the board of school, the board of school estimates. The other role that council has is just being a body to ensure and assist and a voice for residents in terms of going to the school board to be an advocate to help those parents and students receive equitable, fair, quality educational services.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And then to dig down or drill down on that a bit more, long and short, the responsibilities of council in regards to the public education, there's a separate board that handles that, everyone. It's not on the council folks to handle this. There are council members who are appointed to the different boards as well as the mayor, but it is not up to the council to run the public schools. I say that because there's a lot of folks who are misinformed and or uninformed about the functionalities of our city. They're not sure or have an imagination about what the job entails. Can you share a bit more specifically from your perspective what the main responsibilities are for the council position that you are seeking?
I can tell you what I see as the main responsibility of a council person. I will be an advocate and a voice for the residents who vote for me and those who reside in my specific ward, as well as the city in total. The primary responsibility, or one of the primary responsibilities of a council person, is to listen to the constituents whom they serve, hear what they say, take those concerns back, work with fellow council people and the administration to develop strategic, intentional policies and processes to then address those concerns and issues. The being a voice for your constituents is, in my opinion, one of the primary goals of a council person.
Okay. All right. Great. I didn't know if you had anything else to add to that. The budgeting process for the city of Trenton. Our budget is north of $200 million, and council has a responsibility with budgeting. managing the budget, working with the different directors, and following departments, etc. Can you chat a bit about managing or working with a budget of that size, and then also how you would handle working with individual director positions in the communication? And if you want to touch on some of your past experiences in that position as well, we would like to hear that.
Well, I've worked with the budget. I was the former director of the Department of Public Works. I currently work in a position where I oversee a uh, a budget not quite as large as the city, but it's north of $40 million. My role as a council person, though, is not to manage or direct the directors. That's the responsibility and a critical responsibility of the executive branch and the mayor. They're responsible for oversight, performance evaluations, and managing the directors. The council's role as it relates to the budget, and I've also been in banking, so I was a financial advisor, so I have some background in banking and finance. The primary role is to monitor, manage, and approve the budget, to assess the priorities as based on conversations with the residents. And that's a key point. The residents need to be included in every part of the process in municipal government. But hearing what the priorities should be, understanding based on conversations with the residents, with the administration, and fellow council persons, uh, where we want to take the city, and then providing and approving the budget that is going to provide those substantial, positive resources to get the city to where it needs to be.
Great. Thank you so much for that. So it sounds like communication is something that you feel is important. I would assume from your previous jobs as a financial advisor, also working as the public works director, you recognize the importance of communication, whether it's who you have to go through for work or who you are leading, etc. What is your communication style? And what would people in the North Ward and the other council members expect from Merkle Cherry's style of communication?
That I'm thorough in terms of gathering of information, that I can work with, and it's the important piece is to maintain your goal, the an eye on what your goal is. And for me, the critical piece is, will whatever I'm doing benefit the residents in the city of Trenton in a positive way? And if you maintain that goal, you can work with administration, you can work with other council people, you can work with the residents in your respective ward, as again, as well as citywide, because you're going to have to work with fellow council persons. But you want to ensure that what you're moving and what the direction you're moving in is something that's going to be positive, substantial, and beneficial for your constituents. I'm a strong believer in constituent services. My communication style would be to be a breach mender, a bridge builder, to ensure that the work of the people in the city and the priorities that the people in the city have set forth are things that are happening based on sound, solid, intentive policies and strategies.
Great. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are watching, you get a chance to see the Golden Gate Bridge that's in the background of Merkle's profile. And I'm going to go off into the weeds a little bit and talk about that. So the Golden Gate Bridge and other bridges are synonymous with the roebling industry and the steel industry, etc., that was here in Trenton, along with pottery and bunches of other things just like other post-industrial cities. What do you see as a forthcoming industry or opportunity for growth among the citizens here in Trenton?
I see. uh, By the way, I think that the North Ward will be that engine for moving development in the city of Trenton. And I see a variety of opportunities. There are opportunities for tech uh, options, our businesses and industries to come into the city. We know that at this particular time, the cannabis industry is a major industry that several municipalities are reviewing and exploring. I think that there are opportunities for small businesses, and Trenton needs to look at at opportunities for micro loans and ways to support the existing small businesses and ways to attract additional small businesses to the city. I believe that Trenton's historic assets need to be mined in a more aggressive way. We have one of the significant battles of the Revolutionary War occurred right downtown on the streets of Trenton. We know that, and we need to, in my mind, uh, market those and take advantage of those and leverage those. We need to leverage our location between Philadelphia and New York. We have an opportunity with the transit center that is happening in the city of Trenton. We again have a strong physical infrastructure. There are some things that we know we need to remove and demolish, and we want to be aggressive about those. But more importantly, what we want to do is be a welcoming city for individuals who are interested in investing in the city. They have to feel like it's an opportunity that's positive for them to be able to risk their capital here. And we need to do that by depending upon some very smart individuals who live and reside or who have businesses here in the city. We need to allow the experts to be a part of the economic development process, and then be voices again. And I've said it earlier, we want to ensure that the residents have a voice and a role in whatever occurs, and especially in the North Ward. But the council's role is to help move those things forward. The council's role is to help create an environment where those kinds of development projects and opportunities can flourish.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Merkle. Going a bit more into the infrastructure, the Trenton 250 Master Plan or the Comprehensive Plan is a legal document, which is a guide or a roadmap to the future development of the city and where it's going. Can you share about your understanding of the Trenton 250 Master Plan or Comprehensive Plan, and how, if you are elected for the North Ward as a city council member, how you would go forward in either supporting or looking at the 250 Master Plan differently?
I think that the Trenton 250 master plan, it's a compelling vision for the city of Trenton, and it should remain an integral part of city planning. It should be used to drive the community discussion and to inform and inform impactful policy making. There should be a discussion, though, around whether the Trenton 250 plan meets. There should be flexibility in terms of refining the plan if need be, and those discussions need to include the residents. Sometimes master plans are almost I'll say global in perspective in this, but they don't necessarily focus on specific neighborhoods. And you want to include the voices of residents in specific neighborhoods to see if the plan or all of the plan is still meeting those specific needs.
Okay, great. Now, earlier you mentioned about council persons, the representatives of each ward, that not only do they have a responsibility for that ward, but the city as a whole. Can you just drill down on that a little bit more, for the residents who may not know who you are and may not understand what you're saying about, if you're a representative of the North Ward, you may be throughout the city doing this work. Can you just bring a little more clarification to that?
Well, we know that you don't do things in a vacuum and you don't do things in a tunnel. And when you're making decisions specifically for your ward, you're still looking at the greater good for the city and the residents in the city of Trenton. I think it would be detrimental to make decisions that only only look at in a very narrow way, in a narrow scope, what is good for a few. And as a representative of the North Ward, and understanding the importance of the North Ward in the growth and development of the city, those decisions would be made within and with a sense of how they might impact uh, things throughout the city, specifically in the North Ward, but also throughout the city. And we represent our wards and our districts, but we're also voices and leaders for Trenton as a whole.
Great. And I have to ask these questions because they often come up, and it's about the safety. It's the safety concerns that a lot of folks have. Can you share a bit about council's role in safety and concerns like, say, law enforcement, and then maybe provide some clarification for folks who may not understand how government works with the police and fire and safety and working in a relationship with council?
Again, the police director is a position that's appointed by the mayor, and council has a role in advice and consent as it relates to all of the department directors. Again, not specifically managing those individuals, but vetting them when they come before council as it relates to advice and consent. And that's an important role, and a role that I consider a keystone of being a good council person, ensuring that if I provide advice and consent to a director, in this case, we're specifically speaking of law and safety, that I've vetted that individual, that I feel like that's an individual who is going to contribute in a positive way to safety in the city of Trenton.
Great. Just a couple more before we finish up, and I'm speaking with Merkle Cherry, who is a candidate for the North Ward City Council position in the Tuesday, November 8th, Trenton City Municipal elections happening Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. Merkle, when we talk about how the city moves forward, I know we touched on forthcoming industries, et cetera. Can you share a bit about some of the internal opportunities that we have to maybe increase revenue, work with small businesses more? Specifically, I'm talking about the inspections, housing and inspections department. Can you just share a little bit of your information about that?
Again, we know that there are some things that we want to, I'll say, enhance and move and strengthen. Inspections can be one of the areas where additional revenue is generated. But again, we want to make that a part. We need to have those conversations. We need to sit down with the inspections department. We need to sit down with the administration. We need to have the conversations with the residents in specific neighborhoods about what is happening. We need to look at the ordinances that we have on the books. And again, as part of a conversation with the residents, with the council people, and with the administration, strengthen, develop, look at how they can either be enforced better or amended if need be. But those are conversations that have to be had, and they need to be inclusive of all the groups that I've mentioned earlier.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Final specific area of the city to talk about, and then we'll move into the wrapping up area, and that's the water department, Trenton Waterworks. There's a lot of information that's available if folks would dig a little deeper in that, but there's also a lot of trepidation that people have. Whether it's local with their own quality of water, and that may be what's going on in their homes, but also now we're seeing that other municipalities outside of the city are doing whatever it is to share different thoughts and concerns. The Trenton Waterworks is an amazing asset, most people think, for the city of Trenton. Can you just share some of your thoughts about that, where we are, and then where you hope that we'll be going with the Trenton Waterworks?
I agree that Trenton Water Utility is a major and wonderful asset for the city of Trenton. I think that there are some things that need to be improved. We need to make some investments in the infrastructure of the Trenton Waterworks. We need to work with the state to move forward a plan to get to where we want to be in relationship to the utility. And there are some things on the drawing board. The city is now currently in midst of an agreement with the state of New Jersey and Department of Environmental Protection. We know that we want to improve the service delivery. We want to improve the lead line, the water lines to help with delivering quality water to all of the constituents of the Trenton Waterworks. And it's not just the city, but there are other municipalities who that the water utility services also. And what I'd like to see is an investment in the infrastructure of the utility. I'd like to see us continually moving forward in terms of replacing of the lead line water pipes. And I see if we have that commitment to the improvement and upgrading and the investment of the resources necessary to do that, then the citizens of Trenton will continue to benefit from what is a wonderful and great asset for us.
Great. Thank you so much, Merkle. And the city of Trenton has what is considered one of the most dangerous intersections in the state of New Jersey, which is 129 and Layler Street. As a biking, pedestrian, and ADA compliant advocate, can you just share some thoughts about transportation, like non-motorized transportation, from your own personal perspective?
Well, environmentally, non-motorized transportation is a healthy option to some of the motorized transportation. 129 specifically, I know that the federal government is making available some funds to address projects or intersections or dangerous roadways like 129. And again, there needs to be a discussion with those individuals, the local officials, the county officials, state officials, federal government officials, to sit down and see how we can access some of those resources to improve and make safer some of the roadways like 129, which you've already stated has been a a dangerous roadway.
Great. Merkle Cherry, thank you so much for your time. I hope to have you come back and share a little bit more about yourself as things progress in the 2022 Trenton City municipal elections. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to coming back again as the council person for the North Ward.
Thank you so much for that, sir. And there you have it, folks. Just another opportunity for you to get some information directly from the candidates. This is a Bridge the Vote section. I'm Jacque Howard. Remember, there is no endorsement of any of the candidates. Please reach out to them directly. All their contact information will be listed when this video and or audio is shared. I'm Jacque Howard. Remember, it's always about justice, peace, and humility.